Most homicides are dark. This one was bizarre.
Shanna Goyer was sentenced to life behind bars plus 18 to 20 years after she killed the woman dating the man she had a crush on and then took her identity.
In the weeks following Cari Farver's disappearance, police in 2 different states are trying to find her, but for 2 totally different reasons.
The guy that I'm seeing, he has a girlfriend that he dated for 2 weeks, and she's been stalking me since November.
Do you know her name?
It's Cari, C-A-R-I. She has made threats towards me and my kids. She would text me and tell me she wanted to kill me and my kids. You would think they were married. As much as she's stalking me will not go away. I just wish she would go away.
Her messages were filled with jealousy and rage.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I've been shot in the leg. Oh, my pure leg is filled with blood. Oh, Jesus.
The assailant still nearby?
I don't think so. I took off running.
Do you know what she looked like at all?
No, she's behind me.
I killed her because she wouldn't leave him alone. Well, that's a real line, written in an email sent years after a woman disappeared by the person pretending to be her. For 4 years, a woman named Cari Farver kept texting her family. She kept posting on Facebook. She kept sending furious, jealous, threatening messages to the new couple who'd taken over her old boyfriend's life. The only problem was Cari Farver had been dead the entire time. And someone else had been writing as her. Someone who knew her handwriting, her photos, her son's name, and eventually the exact color of the tarp she was wrapped in. This is the story of how a woman vanished, how the person who killed her spent years pretending to be her ghost, technically, and how a small team of investigators finally figured out the difference between a woman who ran away and a woman who never had the chance to. And I'll tell you right now, the person who did it was a woman named Shanna Goyer. That's not the twist. Knowing her name won't help you figure anything out at all. In fact, that's the least of concern here, because the real question, the one that's going to keep unraveling for the next few minutes, isn't who, it's how. How do you kill someone and then become them? How do you send yourself death threats and make it convincing? How do you fool the victim's own mother for 4 straight years? Because the how in this case is so specific, so calculated that even the investigators who cracked it still call it strange. Only it's not in the way you are thinking it. You see, Cari Farver was 37 years old, living in the small town of Macedonia, Iowa, just a short drive from Omaha, Nebraska. She was a mother, her son was a teenager, and by every account, she was close with him. Close with her mom and stepdad too. The kind of daily contact close where a missed phone call actually meant something. She worked in Omaha at a business not far from the apartment of a man she'd started seeing that fall. Nothing complicated about it on her end. She was single, she'd met someone new, and she was figuring out what that looked like. The man was David Krupa. He'd recently gotten into online dating, and he was upfront about where his head was at. He wasn't looking for anything serious. By the standard of romance, he was seeing more than one person, and he told them so. One of those women was Shanna Goyer. She went by Liz. She and Krupa had met online in the late spring of 2012 and started seeing each other casually, or at least that's how he saw it. From almost the beginning, it wasn't casual for her. She wanted commitment. She wanted him to herself. And then, near the end of October 2012, Krupa met Cari. Their first date was October 29th at a restaurant in Omaha. And here's where it gets uncomfortable early. While they were sitting there, Krupa's phone started blowing up. Calls, texts, all from Golyar. He ignored it at first. When it didn't stop, he stepped away and told her he was on a date and couldn't talk. That should have been the end of it for the night, right? Well, it wasn't. He and Cari left the restaurant and went back to his apartment. Almost immediately, the buzzer rang. It was Golyar standing outside, crying, saying she needed to get her things from his apartment. Krupa left Cari inside and went to deal with it. Golyar was upset, insistent, and he eventually let her in to grab whatever she needed while Cari waited. Cari decided she'd rather leave, and as she walked out, she passed Golyar, still standing there by the door. 2 women, both in the middle of the same man's evening, crossing paths in a hallway for a few seconds. Neither of them could have known what that moment would turn into. into. It's the only time they ever met. Cari got in her black Ford Explorer and drove off. Golyar stayed a little longer, then left. That night, Krupa drove out to Cari's home in Macedonia and stayed over. Life, for the moment, kept moving. Over the following weeks, Krupa kept seeing both of them. Casual with Cari, still tangled up with Golyar. Then, on November 9th or 10th, Cari's Explorer got vandalized with spray paint while it was parked in Macedonia. At the time, nobody connected it to anything. Later, investigators would find that Golyar, using a fake Facebook account, had claimed to be in Macedonia that exact weekend. That same fake account had already tried to friend Cari online. If it's a small detail, it's also the first thread of something much bigger. The week of November 12th, Cari had a big project at work that meant late nights. So she arranged for her son to stay with her parents and told Krupa she'd spend the week at his place. Monday, November 12th, she went to work like normal, left between 8 and 9 that night, and spent the night at Krupa's apartment. Her co-workers expected her back the next morning. Krupa left for work around 6:20 the next morning, November 13th. Cari was still there, awake, on her laptop. No one has seen her since. Here's where the story stops being a missing persons case and starts being something almost impossible to explain. That same morning, records show, Cari called into her work project at 6:15. She logged into Facebook from Krupa's apartment at 6:39, logged out 3 minutes later, normal morning. And then at 9:54 a.m., her Facebook account unfriended Krupa. At 10 o'clock, he got a text from her phone asking if he wanted to move in together. That confused him. They'd talked about keeping things casual. He said no. 20 seconds later, a furious text came back from her number, ending things. 20 seconds. Think about that gap. That's not someone processing a breakup. That's someone who already had the next message typed and ready to go the moment the first one landed. That same day, Cari's mother got a text from her daughter's phone saying she'd found a new job. Her mother was surprised she hadn't mentioned looking. She texted back over the next few days, asking basic things. When was Cari coming to get her son? Were they still on for a family wedding coming up? Nothing. No response. For a mother and daughter who talked every single day, that silence was loud. She reported Cari missing on Friday, November 16th. By then, more had already happened. On November 15th, Cari's employer got a text from her number saying she was resigning and recommending someone to take her place. The name she gave them was Shanna Goyer. That same day, Golyar filled out an application with that company. Wait, give it a thought for a second. The woman who allegedly killed her is applying for her job, using her name as the reference, 3 days after she vanished. On November 16th, Cari's debit card was used at 2 stores in Omaha. Among the items purchased, a shower curtain with a distinctive black and white floral pattern. On November 17th, her mother got another text from her daughter's phone. This one with a photo of a $5,000 check made out to Cari, signed by Golyar, supposedly payment for a bedroom set Golyar wanted to come pick up from Cari's house. Cari's mother didn't buy it. She called the police. Police pinged Cari's phone. It showed up in the early hours of November 18th, near Golyar's residence in Omaha. They went looking for that phone. It was never found. And through all of it, Cari's Facebook account stayed active, posting, messaging her mother, messaging her teenage son, except it wasn't Cari anymore. It was an imposter account, built from photos and details lifted straight off her real profile. And investigators would eventually trace it digitally right back to Golyar. Now, here's the part of this case that makes it genuinely strange in every sense of it, even by true crime standards. This didn't stop after a few weeks. It went on for years. And it wasn't just Krupa who got targeted, it was Golyar too. Starting in November 2012 and running until roughly December 2015, both Golyar and Krupa started getting a steady, relentless stream of harassing texts and emails, all supposedly from Cari, not from one number, from as many as 30 different phone numbers and as many as 30 different email accounts. On the worst days, Krupa alone was getting 50 to 60 emails, plus texts, plus missed calls. Over and over, the messages called Golyar a whore, Golyar reported vandalism at her own property, allegedly from Cari, 3 separate times over the following months. She said someone broke into her garage and stole checks. Krupa reported vandalism to his own property too. Every single time something like this happened, one or both of them would get a message from Cari taking credit. And here's the pattern investigators later picked up on. These incidents kept happening at the exact moments Krupa was starting to pull away from Golyar. Every time he cooled off, some new act of vandalism, some new threatening message from the obsessed ex would show up, and it would pull the two of them right back together. In January 2013, with both of their permission, police downloaded data from Krupa's phone and Golyar's phone, trying to trace where these messages were actually coming from. It didn't crack the case, at least not yet. These were surface level downloads. They didn't reach the deleted stuff. At first, there was a third man in this story who seemed to have nothing to do with any of it. He wasn't unrelated, not even close. His name was Todd Butterball, and for over 2 years, Golyar lived in his house, used his internet, touched his devices, all while he had no idea what any of it meant. He'd met Golyar back in 2010, long before Krupa. He believed they were exclusive. He helped her with bills, helped her buy a car, let her and her 2 kids move in with him. In January 2013, he started getting his own messages from Cari, explaining she was a friend of Golyar's, just checking in as an emergency contact. When Butterball asked Golyar about it, she confirmed the story. Cari was her friend. He didn't find out about Krupa until police downloaded Golyar's phone in front of him. That's the moment his understanding of his own relationship changed completely. Golyar and her kids lived with Butterball for over 2 years, through July 2013 to around December 2015 or January 2016. The entire time, she never told him she was supposedly being stalked, and the entire time, she had access to his Wi-Fi, his laptop, his devices. That detail matters more than it sounds like it does, and you'd see through it sooner. August 17th, 2013. Golyar and Krupa had broken up just days earlier. Early that Saturday morning, a fire broke out at the home Golyar was renting.
The guy that I'm seeing, he has a girlfriend that he dated for 2 weeks, and she's been stalking me since November.
Do you know her name?
It's Cari, C-A-R-I. But she has made threats towards me and my kids. She would text me telling me she wanted to kill me and my kids. You would think they were married as much as she's stalking.
She told investigators she and her kids had left the day before and only came back around 7:30 that morning to find it burning. Firefighters found 6 separate points of origin and accelerants. This wasn't an accident. Someone set that fire on purpose. Golyar's 4 pets died in it. 4 innocent pets. Hours before the fire was even reported, at 12:56 in the morning, Golyar received an email from Cari saying she hoped Golyar and her kids burned to death. Krupa got a similar one, sent just before midnight, taking responsibility for setting that nasty whore's house on fire. After the fire, Golyar and Krupa got back together. 2 years later, in 2015, a new person got pulled into this. Amy Flora, the mother of Krupa's 2 older children from a previous relationship. She and Krupa stayed on decent terms after their own breakup, and Golyar had met her briefly while picking up the kids for visitation. Starting in 2013, Flora had also begun getting harassing messages, supposedly from Cari, some of them implying she was being watched. Here's the thing worth sitting with for a second. Every single time Golyar felt like she was losing Krupa's attention, something happened that put her back at the center of his concern. Not as the woman he was choosing to leave, but as the woman who needed protecting. A stalker, a victim, someone under threat. It's a pattern you see in a certain kind of relationship dynamic, where being wanted matters less than being needed. And if you can't earn that honestly, you manufacture a crisis that makes you impossible to walk away from. Golyar not only wanted Krupa's love, she wanted his loyalty, his guilt, his protectiveness, and when those started slipping, she built herself a reason to get them back, over and over again, for years, like a facade. In mid-November 2015, Krupa and Golyar broke up again, this time because he wanted something more serious with someone else. Within days, Golyar told police she believed it wasn't Cari harassing everyone after all. It was Flora. She said she'd figured it out. She let the police download her phone again to review the messages. The following Saturday, officers were called out to a wooded park in Council Bluffs, Iowa. They found Golyar on the ground near her car, shot in the leg.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
I've been shot in the leg. Oh, my piece of leg is filled with blood. Oh, Jesus.
Do you ambulance still nearby?
I don't think so. They took off running.
Do you know what she looked like at all?
No, she was behind me.
Her story about what happened kept changing over the following days and weeks, but the accusation stayed the same. Flora shot her. Police went straight to Flora's house. She opened the door to find officers standing there with guns raised. She had her 2-year-old son with her. Her car was cold, hadn't been driven recently. She cooperated fully, and nothing about her situation lined up with being the shooter. Both Flora and Krupa agreed to have their phones downloaded that following Monday. And this is where the case actually starts cracking open. Buried in the download from Krupa's phone, investigators found that a lot of the Cari emails he'd been receiving had actually been sent from Butabor's home internet connection during the exact years Golyar was living there. An IP address is like a mailing address for a device. If it connects to a certain Wi-Fi network, that network's address gets attached to whatever it sends. And this address kept tracing back to the house Golyar lived in. By early 2016, Krupa had moved in with Flora. Golyar, furious that Flora still hadn't been arrested for the shooting, contacted police again, saying she'd gotten more threatening emails, this time from Flora. Investigators told her they suspected Flora, but needed more to charge her. That wasn't true. By this point, they suspected Golyar had shot herself. And then something remarkable happened. Golyar, still playing the victim, started receiving emails from Flora dated between late December 2015 and February 2016, confessing in detail to Cari's murder, to the arson, to shooting Golyar. The emails described stabbing Cari in her vehicle, wrapping her body in a tarp, burning it, disposing of it in the garbage, cleaning the vehicle afterward. One email described the inside of Cari's home with a level of detail that shouldn't have been possible for a stranger. Whoever was writing these emails knew things only the killer could know, and the only person who ever seemed to receive them was Golyar herself. The forensic picture, once it came together, was almost unbelievable in its completeness. Back in that January 2013 phone download, agents had found something buried in Golyar's own phone. 6 calls to Cari's landline on November 6th and 7th, just days before she disappeared, and a photograph of Cari's Ford Explorer, time-stamped December 24th, 2012, after Cari vanished, before her car was found abandoned near Krupa's apartment in January. When that Explorer was first found and examined, technicians were mainly looking for fingerprints. The car was unusually clean. The only print they found was on a mint container in the cup holder. It sat unmatched for years. In September 2015, it came back as Golyar's. In December 2015, they processed the vehicle again, this time looking for blood. Nothing. But in February 2016, they went back a 3rd time, pulled the cloth seat covers off, and underneath, on the passenger seat foam, they found a large dark stain. DNA testing confirmed it. It was Cari's blood. That same February, investigators got warrants and searched Golyar's apartment and the home she'd shared with Butterbor. Inside, they found a black and white floral shower curtain, matching the exact one bought with Cari's debit card back in November 2012. When they searched the storage unit where Cari's mother had put her daughter's belongings, they found receipts showing Cari had bought a camera and camcorder herself back in October, weeks before she disappeared. The owner's manuals for those same items turned up in Golyar's apartment. Somewhere in a storage unit, a grieving mother had been keeping her daughter's things safe. She had no idea she was also keeping evidence. Investigators traced every Cari and Flora email back to Golyar using IP addresses and device data. Golyar had tried to hide her tracks, masking her location, timing messages to send at hours other than when she wrote them. At trial, she never even contested that these accounts were hers. But the piece that made this case unforgettable came from a tablet. In February 2017, investigators recovered a tablet that had belonged to Krupa, one Golyar had access to while they were together. Inside was a memory card. On the surface, it looked empty, but forensic examiners recovered thousands of deleted files from it, over 13,000 photographs, text messages sent to and from Golyar. The tablet itself couldn't send texts, which meant that card had been used in another device at some point. That device turned out out to be Golyar's old cell phone, the one downloaded back in 2013. 458 of those recovered photos were also found on that phone. Some of those photos showed what looked like a blue and grey tarp photographed from multiple angles. One photo showed a flesh-colored object with what looked like a yin-yang symbol on it. Cari's ex-husband had a matching yin-yang tattoo with her from their marriage, his on his calf, hers on her left hip. A forensic analyst compared the image on the recovered photo to his tattoo. Consistent. Another photo showed a flesh-toned object with a Chinese character on it. Cari's mother provided a photograph of her daughter's tattoo. The character for mother inked on the top of her left foot. Compared side by side, consistent again. A forensic pathologist examined the photo of what appeared to be the foot and testified that it showed signs of decomposition. She couldn't say how long, but she was confident in what she was looking at. Golyar was arrested and charged roughly 4 years after Cari disappeared. She waived her right to a jury twice on the record and chose a bench trial instead. 10 days of testimony. She never took the stand. Her defense didn't call a single witness. On May 24th, 2017, in courtroom 502 of the Douglas County Courthouse in Omaha, Judge Timothy Burns delivered his verdict.
Cari Farver did not voluntarily disappear and drop off the face of the earth. Very sadly, she was murdered. The court finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant intentionally killed Cari Farver with deliberate and premeditated malice on or about November 13th, 2012, here in Douglas County, Nebraska.
Guilty of first-degree murder. Guilty of second-degree arson. Cari's mother, Nancy Rainey, was in that courtroom. She'd known for years, in the way mothers sometimes just know, that her daughter hadn't simply walked away from her own life. Cari didn't miss her son's events. She didn't threaten people online. That wasn't her. The person doing all of that for 4 straight years wasn't Cari Farver at all. Golyar was sentenced to life in prison for the murder, plus 18 to 20 years for the arson to be served after. She appealed, arguing the evidence was circumstantial, that there was no body, no weapon, no witness. The Nebraska Supreme Court didn't see it that way. In a unanimous ruling in 2018, the court found that the mountain of digital evidence, the confessions Golyar herself had written while posing as someone else, the blood, the tattoo photographs, the timeline was more than enough. The conviction stood. Cari Farver's body has never been found. What makes this case sit with people long after the verdict isn't really the murder itself. It's the 4 years that came after. 4 years of a dead woman's name being used as a weapon. 4 years of 2 people, Golyar and Krupa, being pulled back together every time fear of a ghost got strong enough, not realizing the ghost was sitting right across from them the entire time. And underneath all of it is that same through line. Every fire, every fake threat, every self-inflicted injury, all of it built toward one goal, staying the woman worth choosing. Not the strongest, not the healthiest, just the one positioned closest to sympathy when it mattered. That's what makes this case land differently than a lot of obsession cases. It's not just that Golyar wanted a man who'd already moved on. It's how far she was willing to go to stay cast as the wounded one instead of the guilty one, right up until the physical evidence stopped leaving her any room to hide in that role. The case didn't end with the verdict. In November 2018, the Nebraska Supreme Court unanimously rejected Golyar's appeal. She remains at the Nebraska Correctional Center for Women, serving life for the murder plus a consecutive 18 to 20 year term for the arson. A few years later, investigators from the Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Office, the same people who spent thousands of hours untangling this, helped establish the Cari Farver Memorial Scholarship at Iowa Western Community College, supporting students in information technology, the same field Cari had built her career in. It's awarded every year since 2020. The same digital skill set that convicted her killer now funds students who never knew her name until they read it on an award letter. Somewhere in southwest Iowa, Cari's family is still living with an ending that came without a body to bury. For 4 years, the world believed Cari Farver was refusing to let go, texting her family, threatening her boyfriend's other women, unwilling to move on. The truth was the opposite. She never had the chance to. If this story stayed with you, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more cases like this one. And if you think this one was chilling, click the video at the top right now, because the Chris Watts case takes it even further.